Hi everyone, thank you for joining me once again. Today I'm going to discuss about MEP coordination with the structure. MEP coordination with the structure plays a very important role among all the coordination. So why it is so important? Because unlike other MEP coordination services like interdisciplinary MEP coordination, the coordination with the structure is pretty much going to be the same because we cannot do any changes once the structure is casted on the site. So it is very important to give enough attention before we cast any structures, and we have to make sure that all the openings as per the MEP services are provided in the structure. So like I said, this structure coordination starts from very beginning of the construction. So in the very beginning, we may have started with manhole coordination and underground coordination, earth pit coordination. So in that stage itself, the coordination of structure and MEP starts. So we have to be very sure with the MEP coordination with the structure, because coordination that is done with the structure cannot be changed once the structure is casted or the concrete is casted. So we have to make sure that whatever services that needs to come in the given space in the structure part has been taken care with all technical aspects being considered. And the interdisciplinary coordination between the services needs to be well planned to ensure proper coordination. This is because without doing the coordination between the services, we cannot do the coordination with the structure. Having said that, we have to make sure that the interdisciplinary coordination between the services are taken care with enough importance. But here comes the tricky part, because the interdisciplinary coordination will come in the later stage where all the drawings or all the coordination is in a position where we can prepare the coordination drawing. But unfortunately, in construction practice, the casting will go well ahead of the MEP coordination. So in that case, we have to be proactive, and we have to be like, we have to assume certain things and give us opening in structure in such a way that we don't want to request, or we don't want to create any troubles in the structure in the later stage. So we have to make sure that the structure coordination is getting enough importance, especially with MEP services. And I'm mentioning the structure here as RC concrete structure as well as the steel structure, and the structure can be anything like a beam or a slab or a wall, structural wall, or anything it may be. So we have to make sure that the coordination with structural items, we don't want to worry about the architectural walls such as the partition wall or the brick wall or the precast wall, because those walls can be penetrated with ease when compared with the structural wall. Of course, those walls also very difficult to penetrate and provide such provisions. But considering the structural wall, the architectural wall such as the brick wall and the precast wall are little bit easy to crack and penetrate. So the openings once provided cannot be changed at all, or at the least not very easily. So like I said in the previous statement, the coordination that we are doing with the structure is pretty much going to be the same till the last end. We cannot do any changes in the structure until unless it is very uh, essential, because we don't have any other choice. So we have to give enough justification to the contractor as well as the main consultant, and even sometimes to the owner, to request for additional openings in the structure. So requesting additional openings in the structure is a very complicated process in all the construction practice. So we have to make sure that the construction or the coordination with the structure is given enough importance. So let me take to the next topic. So like I said, as you can see in the image, in the first image, you can see that there's a picture depicting a bunch of pipes passing through a wall, and a duct passing through a wall, and two cable trays passing through a wall. You can see there is a penetration provided in the wall. This picture depicts how in conventional practice the MEP services are penetrating through the wall. And in the second image, you can see there is a pipe sleeve provided in the beam, and the rebar arrangement is changed in such a way that they are balancing the amount of structural strength that we are losing in the pipe sleeve. So we have to make sure that the pipe sleeves are provided with enough diameter, because as you can see, there is a lot of work that needs to be done before we provide any sleeves in the beam. So requesting for sleeves in the later stage in the beam is going to be tedious process, or not possible at all, because the rebar arrangement for specialized sleeve will be like this. So requesting sleeves in the later stage may not be possible, because we cannot add such rebars in the later stage. And the third image, you can see there is a slab opening, and you can see a similar rebar arrangement that is specialized for slab openings. And again, these rebar arrangements are depicting a typical standard, and it may vary case by case and depending on the slab thickness, or the beam depth, or the beam thickness. So this is just for your information and understanding, so that you will be taking enough care to provide such openings in beam and slab. So like I said, in the MEP services, we are covering four major topics. Starts with the electrical and HVAC and plumbing and drainage, and lastly firefighting. Here we have combined the entire system, and we are calling it as MEP risers. So basically, we are dealing with the five different strategies of opening for the structural coordination. So let us see each department in detail, and how the structure coordination is needed with each department. So in this image, you can see the structural coordination with the electrical. So it starts with the structural slab, where we are concealing the electrical conduits, where we can pull the cable, and we will be placing the junction box in appropriate position, where we need to take the lighting connections or any other socket connections. So we have to make sure that the positioning of the junction box are in a proper way, where it is accessible, or where it is symmetrical in the given space. And also we have to make sure that the conduits that we are laying in the slab are not difficult enough to pull the cable. So this is the first stage of coordination, uh, where electrical services is being coordinated with the structural slab. And in the second image, in the middle image, you can see there is a structural wall, and you can see from the image they are broken for placing the electrical socket or the electrical switches. In this case, it is very difficult for the laborers or the workmen to cut such openings in the structural wall, because it is a very human intensive process, labor intensive process, and we don't want to give such difficult tasks to our workmen. So what we can do instead, before we actually go for structural casting, we can identify the area where these sockets are coming, and we can ask for some kind of provisions, where there will be they will be attached to the wall in such a way that the concrete will not be in that locations, so that later, once the concrete is casted and the formwork is removed, we can easily remove those provisions, and we can easily fix the fixtures. So it is very important, especially in structural wall, when there is a sockets coming in the structural wall, we have to make sure that the enough provisions are placed before we cast the concrete. So because once it is casted, we have to do such practice as shown in the middle image, which is very difficult for the laborers. And third is the opening, where the cable tray is passing through a wall. So as you can see here, the cable trace is covered with the fire rated materials. So we have to make sure that the openings that are required for cable trace are provided in position, and also not exceedingly big than the cable tray. So it should be in appropriate size when compared with the cable tray, and we should make sure that the cable that are passing in the cable tray has enough space on the top, and also enough access space for the workman to pull the cable and dress the cable. So the similar way, we are having HVAC riser, where the ducts are rising from the lower level to the upper level and to the roof. And in the first two image you can see the rises are HVAC ducts are passing through the rises, and in the second image you can see the circular ducts are running the roof. And in the third image you can see the circular ducts are passing through a beam. These kind of big openings are allowed in the beam only in the extreme cases where there is no other choice, because asking for such a very big opening in the structure may result in some structural integrity of the beam. So we have to make sure that there is no other choice or no other routes. In this case only then we can justify the opening that we are requesting in such a very big openings, in such very big beams. So this is plumbing and drainage. As you can see in the first image, the drainage penetrations in the slab. These penetrations may be for WC or for floor drains or maybe anything, and such openings cannot be provided in the middle. So we have to make sure before we cast the slab, these provisions are provided for drainage openings. And in the second image you can see there is a brick wall and we are concealing the water supply pipes in the brick wall. Here in this case this is a brick wall, so we can easily hack and place these pipes. Not easily, maybe comparatively less difficulty when compared with the structural wall, but care should be taken if it is a structural wall to conceal these conduits or provide some provisions so that these concealed conduits can be installed in the later stage very easily. And in the third image, as I said in the second image, you can see there's a structural wall and the water supply pipes are concealed there, and there is some provisions provided for water supply pipes. So such provisions will help the site laborers to finish the work very easily. And like they don't want to spend a lot of very tough task in such installation. And again the similar concept goes with firefighting also. So we have to make sure that the firefighting pipes wherever it is crossing, whether it is a normal wall or a fire rated wall, we are providing sleeve, and the sleeve size should be in appropriate way or slightly bigger than the pipe diameter that is passing through the given sleeve. So it should not be very big and it should not be exactly the pipe size also. So the opening should be in such a way that there is enough space for the pipe to pass through, and later we can seal the remaining areas with some kind of sealant to provide fire rating. So in all the cases, as mentioned in the previous sections, it is very important to consider all the services that are going to pass through the structural side, whether it is going to be a wall or a slab or it's going to be a beam. Care should be taken that enough sleeve and openings are provided for all the MEP services, and enough clearance between the services has to be maintained also. That clearance between the services is based on the support and the standard technical aspects that we follow for any other MEP coordination. And in the image, like we discussed in the previous sections, we are simply depicting the possible MEP penetrations that may happen in the site, and we cannot rule out any services that it will not pass through a beam or a slab or a wall, whatever it may be. So we have to make sure that all possibilities are considered before we go for any casting. So in such cases, it will save a lot of time in the later stage during the finishing period, and lot of time and material and resource also. And lastly, in this image you can see here some of the drainage provisions are provided in the slab conceal, both for horizontal pipes as well as the vertical pipes in the sleeve. You can see it is provided. So it is very important that we are coordinating all the MEP services with the structure, because missing such coordination aspect with the structure will result in a very important or a very difficult routine to manage such problems, because the MEP coordination between the services can be manipulated or can be managed in the later stage also, whereas the coordination with the structure cannot be manipulated or managed in the later stage, or at least not very easily we can manage. So we have to make sure that enough importance were given before we cast the required area, and giving such importance will save a lot of time in the later stage. And in the last image you can see there's a case where we have missed some openings, and they are providing wall coring in the RC wall. So this is possible. I mean, theoretically it is possible to provide such openings in the RC wall, but practically it is not happening, because this kind of wall coring will compromise the structural integrity of the building, and it is not advisable at all. And even to provide such wall corings, we may have to take permission from the structural engineer, as well as the consultant, as well as the owner, and from all these stakeholders involved. It is going to be a very tedious and difficult process, and it is not advisable at all. So having said that, please consider all the previous cases that what I have listed, and there are some other additional cases also. For example, you have to place a puddle flange in the water storage areas, and such puddle flange has to be placed well in advance, because like those cannot be placed in the later stage. So it is very important to coordinate the MEP services with the structure well in advance, and the MEP coordination between the services can be given least importance. Again, having an understanding of MEP coordination, only then we can provide proper openings in the structure. So it is a win-win, or it's like a situation where both the structural coordination and the MEP coordination will go parallelly, and should be given enough importance at the equal stage. And lastly, I'm just listing some of the key points that what we have discussed. And basically these are all items that what we have discussed in the earlier stage. So this is just for your quick summary, and you can go through these points, and you can recollect the points that what we have discussed in the earlier stage. And thank you once again for joining me. And if there is anything that you need further clarification, you can reach me in this email, or you can post your comments in the below comment section, and we will be definitely reaching you for any further clarification and discussion. And thank you once again for joining me.